Hey Paul, how's it going today?
It's going good. How are you doing, Leah?
I'm great. It's so nice to talk to you today. Went to the RIA show last week, so it's sort of top of mind right now. I want to hear all about it. So walk me through what the energy was like on the show floor this year. What were people talking to you about?
Yeah, first of all, Savannah is a beautiful city. So we had a great time there and meeting with all the restorers. It was just really good conversation simply because the claim volumes have come back. So people are feeling better that, hey, we're back on track with our businesses. But wow, the AI noise was palpable. I mean, everybody was asking us, what's real, what's not, who's really innovating, who's not. We see, Claude out there, from Anthropic, we see ChatGPT. We're just seeing a lot of noise. What can help us in our business truly? And so, really good conversations around that.
So what is it, Paul, about AI that you think restorers are really wrestling with right now?
Well, one thing they love is the fact that, hey, this could take a lot of administrative overhead away from me. So it looks like an easy button to them. And I don't blame them. I mean, restorers have to wear so many hats. It's a chaotic business to be in. And, when you're managing, peaks and valleys and the demands of the carriers, uh, it's a lot. So anything that seems like a gift or an easy button, um, like it just looks really good. And to me, I mean, we all use Claude Cowork and Chat GPT in our business, and we get benefit of it. But you really have to choose where those value points are, and ensure that the value is real and not just a mirage. So that's what a lot of the discussions were about.
You mentioned something about carriers, and so talk to me. What are restorers thinking around carriers' use of AI right now?
Yeah, well, I think they all know that carriers are investing in AI. And what do carriers, the insurance companies, care about? Well, they want to reduce cycle time. They want to manage and control claim costs, and they want to reduce overhead. So, how do they do it? Well, AI plays a part in that, in how they review the contractor's files and how they work with the contractor. So, I think all of the restorers were aware of that, but not particularly clear on how to counter it. And so, a lot of my discussions were around, hey, you have to make sure that you have the counter argument to their argument with that is more substantiated with facts, because only the facts will win you the revenue and profit margins that you deserve.
Okay, so talk to me more about that right now. Are contractors were they talking to you about using AI actively for for those purposes to combat the carriers' use of AI, or what are they actually doing with AI right now?
Yeah, well, a lot of them that I talk to are actually using the ability to record themselves talking about the scope, the cause of loss, the resulting damages, the work that needs to be done, and then putting that into a large language model such as Claude, and coming out with an estimate, a very rational estimate that has exactimate line items, not pricing, but line items in it. So already a lot of that is happening, and they can input the contractor rules into that. Uh, they may even be putting carrier rules, which I think is offside with what carriers will allow. But I think they're putting a lot into the LLMs to get an output that looks rational. But rational doesn't mean defensible. And when it comes to comparing an estimate from the contractor and an estimate written by the adjuster, which, by the way, in all of the, when I was at PLRB, most of the carrier folks I talked to really highlighted that they're going to be writing estimates using AI as well to fact check and validate that the estimate from the contractor is real. Now, that's two failure points, because if it's all based on just voice input without verifiable details into an LLM that isn't structured specifically for restoration work or insurance work, then you're going to get an output. But that output may not be aligned with IACRC standards, OSHA standards, building codes. It may miss a whole bunch of verified line items that the contractor could bill for. And then again, you both could be putting into different LLMs and getting different answers. So we need everything based on the facts. So what I said to the contractors is that it doesn't negate the need for really good field documentation. And that's sort of where we went at it from the scope perspective. But at the end of the day, all of us can put information into an LLM and get what looks like a rational output. But man, when you dig into it, it's definitely not worthy of passing on to try and get paid from it
Right.
without a lot of verification.
So you mentioned rational, because LLMs, that's what they're designed to do, is produce a rational, good sounding output. But that doesn't mean that scope is going to be accurate and defensible. Talk to me a little bit more about what that means and the connection to documentation there.
Yeah, so without the verifiable information, both sides can argue their point of view on what this job is worth and the work that needs to be done on it. Versus if you've got the verifiable facts, photos, videos, notes, floor plan, moisture readings from a moisture map, and of course the all of the different elements that are in the reports and forms that you get from the policyholders, such as their health conditions that may have had an impact on how the job had to be done. Um, just a lot of factors in there, including abatement, where you have asbestos or hazardous materials. There's a lot of considerations that need to be attributed to the file and backed up with evidence to ensure full payment. Because across the board, what are contractors struggling with? Getting their estimates out in a timely way with all of the defensible information to ensure they get paid in full.
Got it. So it sounds like what people were talking to you about, what they're really wanting AI to do is streamline that scoping and estimating workflow. But I want to pivot a little bit. Can documentation be shortcutted or streamlined with AI? Is there a shortcut around that documentation piece?
No, but documentation can streamline your use of AI. And give you an example of this is AI is not free. So if you're using any of these LLMs, you're paying for tokens. And those tokens add up depending on how much information you're asking it to process. And that's not even, having an LLM that has a deep knowledge of the industry you serve. So put it all together, there's a high cost to pay by taking what feels like a good path, but really is a shortcut. So if you go down the path of really good documentation, take a couple extra minutes on the photos, the videos, the notes, and then the human element. What tell me in the file the things you're dealing with, like in a video note. Tell me, here's why I've assessed it this way. Here are the conditions we're dealing with. That now applies into a very structured, custom built within Encircle, custom built framework, even before it gets to the LLM to bring that to hone that out with all your IACRC standards and relevant data to ensure it's accurate, defensible, and then also to make sure that, hey, if you've missed anything, maybe you want to look at this. See, that's what an LLM, just a standard LLM, is not going to do. It's not going to tell you what you've missed. You should go look at this, get more photos to defend and get paid. That's so. No, there is a long way of saying there is no shortcut for good defensible documentation because that's what will stand up to the scrutiny of the carrier.
Right. So people, there are our audience, our restorers, they don't need AI is not replacing field work. In fact, it's really going to highlight those good operators, the ones that where their field processes, their documentation processes are sacred.
That's right. And that's not just day one. That's day one, day two, day three, day four, day five, however long the mitigation process is or rebuild. And that's why at Encircle, we want the contractor building a scope every day so they know what, how the job is progressing, but also what's missing each day to
Mhm.
substantiate that file for full payment. Because the difference is thousands of dollars. We're not talking a little bit. This is 10 to 20% increase to profit margins on every job.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you've shared that with me before, that there's data suggesting that contractors that have that documentation dialed in and their scope dialed in, they're capturing, at least 10% more on their final invoice. So that tracks with what you were hearing at RAA as well.
Oh, absolutely. And even more, once you layer on additional equipment revenue, um, and all of the other benefits that come with being able to, write a really good day one estimate, which is truly an estimate, and then having that your day three, day five final estimate line up, it's a game changer. And then all of the scoping details that have been captured every day throughout it, it's very hard to refute that, even if the carrier or engineering company. So we heard a lot about engineering companies there as well, reviewing files. This is the only way to beat that. And by the way, it's also good business practice internally, because how do you audit the files of your PMs if they're lacking documentation and all they did was push their own personal assessment through an LLM? See, that's way too much subjectivity. We need to take the subjectivity out of the process and base it all on the facts. So if you
Mhm.
haven't captured the facts with timestamps, geolocates, and who captured the information, then you're kind of left exposed.
Right. And I mean, I've been at Encircle for almost 5 years, and we've said the facts come from the field, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Great. All right. Wrapping up, looking ahead, Paul, RAA 2026 has come to a close. Over the next year, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think we're going to be talking about at RIA, post RIA 2027?
Well, I hope everybody's talking about Encircle's scoping and estimating tools. I think the way we're implementing AI really serves the restoration contractor and their needs, but it also serves to educate everybody within that restoration organization on what good documentation looks like. How do we get paid in full? And so now you're really managing the operations of your business, which is something a lot of restorers struggle with. And if we can improve margins, then restorers are just going to be able to weather the cyclicality of this industry like we saw last year in a much better way.
All right. All right. Last question. Where, based on your conversations from RA, where should a contractor who's serious about investing and implementing AI into their business, where should they be investing that energy right now?
Well, number one, if you can improve your field documentation processes, um, it's just going to help you across the board. There are going to be there's going to be so many tools, AI generating tools that can leverage that data, that that's going to be the big win, because that's going to strip out a lot of administrative overhead, and that will come from the ability to schedule jobs. So think about, if you can build really good scopes, you can produce really good work orders. Those work orders can automatically be generated into scheduling and other functions within your organizations that have a high administrative overhead that are going to get automated over the next, I'm telling you, max 12 to 18 months. But it will all be based on the field data. So think that field data will drive CRM, will drive job management, job scheduling. Like, everything will be driven from the field based on that data captured, and the efficiency gains will be profound, and so will the retained profit margins. So, if
Great.
I can't point everybody where to look other than Encircle, but work on your field documentation, and I guarantee you, Encircle and others are going to help you leverage that data to drive profitability in your business.
That's right. And that's the thing that AI can't replace, is the restorer in the field doing the dirty work, standing in the flooded basement at 3 in the morning. Claude's not going to do that for you.
It is not. There's a lot of good job security in that industry.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Paul. Appreciate your perspective. And we'll do this again for sure next year, but I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Wonderful. Good talking with you, Leah. Take care.
Thanks, Paul.